Number one, it's all about investment research. And honestly, guys, what I've done with Rebel Capitalist Pro is I've built the product that I wanted for myself. And one of the things that made me very successful as an entrepreneur, I was a self-made millionaire at the age of 34. I was able to retire at the age of 38 in 2012, is I understood the power behind finding people who are the best in the business and leveraging their skill sets to make me more money. And that's exactly what I've done with Rebel Capitalist Pro. I'm very proud to have partnered with Lyn Alden and Chris McIntosh. These people are the best in the business. Chris has been in the hedge fund world, investment banking. He runs a hedge fund now. So think about this. The research you're getting from Chris is the exact same research that he uses to make decisions for his hedge fund. And Lyn takes it an additional step. Not only do you get amazing research from her, but she also discloses her personal portfolio. So you can see that she puts her money where her mouth is. But you also have to have a game plan, a very specific, succinct, cohesive strategy to make sure that over the long run, you're going to be successful. You've got to see eye to eye with the professionals that you're hiring. And this is where I really think you'll enjoy listening to Lyn and Chris. They're very much like the community for Rebel Capitalists and the George Gammon channel. They value gold and precious metals in a portfolio. They also see the asymmetric opportunities in things like Bitcoin, gold miners, and silver miners. But the main thrust of their strategy is to buy things when they're cheap, sell them when they're expensive, and hold them for the long run. And if by chance they get even cheaper, well, that's great. It gives you the opportunity to buy at a lower price. But they do the exact same things I preach about till I'm blue in the face. And that's not to worry about the price going up or down, but to make sure you're buying low and selling high. To look under the hood even further, let's go right to my digital marketing pro, Gene Morris.
Hey, Gene here from Rebel Capitalist Pro. I am one of George's fearless lieutenants. I am also the admin here inside the forum. I want to give you a quick look-see at what's going on here, a little quick peek under the hood. I'm going to switch over to the dark theme. That's more my speed. With respect to Lyn Alden research and Chris McIntosh research, there's going to be a section here that'll allow you to find that research. So based on your membership level, this is where you're going to go to get that research. So either you're Lyn Alden researcher or you're Chris McIntosh researcher or you're both. Either way, this is where it's going to be. Let's just jump in here real quick. I want to show you real fast how you would access say Lyn's premium newsletter. So, these are just simple topics inside this category. And all you would do is you would just kind of click on the link. And if you want to actually look at the research, it'll click on that link and it's going to take you to a member protected page that will allow you to review the research and look at it. And so you can just kind of spend some time here. You could bookmark this page. As long as you're logged into the forum, you'll have access to this information. And this just gives you an opportunity to kind of mull it over, write down some questions. Take advantage of this. Get into the forum. You can ask some questions there. You can, there's going to be lots of investment opportunities. And, she's talking about puts and calls and so forth. And so it's like, this is just a great place to learn. It's a great place to expand. And so we're going to do that with both Chris and Lyn. So you'll just have easy access to their premium research.
Step number 2. Live stream Q&As. And this is something I'm extremely excited about. Whenever I go through a report, whether it's 20 pages, 40 pages, I always highlight things, I look at charts, and I jot down specific questions that I have that I've got to go on Google or research or try to figure out. So I really understand not only what their position is, but understand the fundamentals, the process behind what they're saying. So this is one thing that I wanted to do for sure with Rebel Capitalist Pro, is have these live stream Q&As with Lyn and Chris after they actually come out with their most recent report. So check this out. What would happen, let's say, is they come out with their report on a Sunday night. You get the report, it goes right to your inbox, or it's in the forum at Rebel Capitalist Pro. You read through it, you jot down some questions, then maybe that Wednesday evening, we get on a 2-hour live stream Q&A with whomever wrote the report, and they can go over in detail their thought process behind the entire research and the charts. They can also explain their views to you directly live, and at the end of the live stream, it gives the members an opportunity to take those questions they had after reading the report and ask the individual person, whether it's Chris or Lynn or maybe even me, directly. You can ask your question right there in the live stream. This is absolutely priceless. And to be honest with you, I can't wait to dive in myself, go through this research, and ask them my own questions right along with you. All right, Lynn, this is from your last report, and this is the main chart that you had. So can you walk us through what this is and why you think it's really important?
Yeah, so this is a chart that shows treasury holdings and cash holdings on large banks. The blue line is cash as a percentage of assets, and the red is treasury and agency securities. Over the whole period leading up to the great financial crisis, we had bank cash levels get lower and lower. They started back in the 80s there at like 10%, and it went all the way down to 3%. Now, during the crisis, QE was used to basically recapitalize the banks. So they quickly were pushed up to, as you can see, about 8% cash levels as a percentage of assets.
Right.
And then with all these new regulatory frameworks, that 7 to 8% level has been kind of the bottom line for how much cash they have to have on hand.
What does this mean to investors? What's the takeaway?
This is actually a pretty interesting contrarian play where if you can find high quality banks that don't have too much emphasis on interest rate differentials. So if they have a diverse source of income stream, so they have fee-based income and interest rate-based income, some of these beaten down bank stocks, especially ones don't have a lot of commercial lending exposure, are actually pretty interesting at these price levels.
Okay, John F.V. asks, how does this compare to what the financial sector went through 2008 to 2009?
Yeah, sure. So I have another chart here. The purple line is the cash assets. Now, unlike the other chart, this is the raw amount of cash assets, whereas the other one shows it as a percent of total assets. So
Okay.
as you can see, it's a similar shape. It's just a different way of displaying that information.
Okay.
And then the orange line is the financial sector, ETF, the popular XLF product. Back in 2008, banks went into that crisis, very over leveraged in the housing market. They had very low cash reserves, whereas this time they had record treasury securities and they had 7-8% cash levels. So they were very stocked with these safer assets. So we wouldn't expect as big of a drawdown. Plus, they started it at lower valuations to begin with. So we had this pretty sharp drawdown, but not as sharp as back then. And we've had this really big cash injection up to record cash levels, $1.7 trillion in cash on bank balance sheets.
All right, Chris. Well, we've got the next chart that you pulled up. So it's gold miners and index relative to the NASDAQ. Can you go ahead and walk us through your thought process of using this chart and why this is important?
The reason that I picked the NASDAQ is because the relative outperformance within the market over the last decade at least has been what we've been referring to as growth versus value.
Right.
And so growth stocks, which in many respects have been actually unprofitable, have massively outperformed. And so the market has massively been long growth. And that's also really just a factor of the Fed and the ECB and all the various central banks that have pushed people further down the risk curve.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're looking at here essentially is that far end of growth within the listed equity market, which is the NASDAQ. And then we look and say, okay, well, on the far end of value, if you will, I like gold because it's very simple for us to understand in that it is something of tangible value. It is something of historical value. and it is the epitome, I guess, of value as opposed to growth. When you look at the growth space, it's been components of the market that have benefited from a globalization and a deflationary environment. And one of the questions that gets asked is around, what might be a catalyst that can change that. And these are the things we've been talking about for 2-3 years. And what we've got now is this extraordinary acceleration of many of those trends in place. And so, but yeah, it's an important chart, I think, just for people to understand in context where a market is. It's not just about one particular sector. It's about understanding that sector within the context of overall market and of other valuations.
Gold member 22 asks, I totally get what George and Chris are saying about NASDAQ, but what would the catalyst be?
Deglobalization is one which is now in an accelerating trend. That deglobalization was something that brought with it massive deflationary impact largely to the Western world. Always was going to be deflationary in terms of goods and services. And the supply chains that allowed that liquidity and fluidity of the markets to operate, all of those things are under pressure. So when you think about that, in an inflationary environment, you do not want to be owning assets that don't have any profitability. You don't want to be owning an asset that needs to go back to the market to get to sell equity to stay alive. So in that environment, when you look at this relationship and you go, hang on a second, you got the NASDAQ here. Again, I could use the Russell, I could use a bunch of other things. And then I look at it relative to gold and gold miners. It's a really extraordinary setup. So, you've got to understand the context of that, and then also understand that you maybe not going to get the timing right, but you don't necessarily have to. It's a matter of first protecting your downside, erring on the side of caution and using probability in your favor, and then saying, okay, that's the structure of the market. How do we go about executing a view on that? Yeah. So I think that's the best way to think about it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, gold member 22, we appreciate the question. Step number 3, the members forum. And this is the part of Rebel Capitalist Pro that I think is super, super cool. You have this entire community of like-minded people. It's not all those crazies you get on Twitter or your Facebook feed. These are people who think just like you do, but it's all different skill sets. It's this group of knowledge that you can tap into to become a better investor moving forward. It's very, very powerful. But one of the things I'm really looking forward to is having common topics for discussion. As an example, I know Lynn is rather bearish on the dollar. Chris is rather bullish. So I'm going to go in there myself and create a topic for discussion where everybody can go in there and give their opinion on Lynn's most recent research, Chris's about the dollar, and determine whether they think Chris may be right long term, or maybe it's Lynn who's right long term. But you go back and forth and back and forth. It creates all this community content that is just an incredible resource and tool for you to learn and to get better over the long run. And what I'm really looking forward to is having a sane space, not necessarily a safe space, because we don't care about those things. Those are for the people in the colleges and up in Portland, Oregon, where I grew up. But this is a sane space, finally, somewhere online that you can go and talk about gold or Bitcoin or silver, commodities, buying things cheap, anything like this. And you know that you're not going to get all these crazy people yelling at you, telling you that you should take your stimulus check and go out and buy some company like Hertz that's already filed for bankruptcy, or go buy Netflix or Amazon or whatever they're saying. You can come right here to this community of like-minded people in Rebel Capitalist Pro, take a deep breath and actually learn something and spend some time online that's actually productive. To walk you through the features of the forum, let's go right back to my digital marketing expert, Gene Morris.
We have a forum section. We didn't want to overwhelm you with too many categories, too many topics, too many threads. So this is just a basic place to start. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you got some due diligence, you're postulating thoughts, this is where you're going to do it. This is where everybody's going to communicate with each other. You got the macro side, the investing side, the real estate side. That's basically the kind of core categories. Let me know if you want me to open up more. I'm happy to do that. There's a site feedback section here. I'm easy to get a hold of. All you got to do is send me a message with a little asterisk sign, Gene Admin, right from inside this form, and I'll be happy to help you answer your questions. This form is really easy. It's not going to take too much time and energy to kind of figure it out. It's not too overwhelming. All things said, if it gets a little too complicated, just click on the little logo up there and it's going to take you right here to the home page and you should be good to go. Anyway, my name is Gene. I am the admin here. I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the inside here. And don't be a stranger. Make sure you get over to the welcome section and introduce yourself. That's really important. We're all a family here, and I'm looking forward to growing with you. Take care.
Now, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to try out Rebel Capitalist Pro. You're going to absolutely love it. But more importantly, your portfolio is going to love it, and your future self is going to love it even more. But try it out right now. We've got a special introductory price. We've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. You've got nothing to lose. Take action right now. Take the next step to building wealth and thriving in a world of out-of-control central banks and big governments. And I look forward to seeing you inside Rebel Capitalist Pro.